And yet again, YouTube proves to everyone involved how much of a fucking disappointment it can choose to be whenever it feels so inclined to try to put a monkey wrench into anything that you try to do as a person, even if it is just simply having a hobby and filming videos either for the purposes of being informative or for simply being entertainment. Now, for those that already know, the Bunny Gathering has recently lost its channel on account of a bunch of spurious bullying, harassment, and privacy complaints, which are fucking ridiculous, considering the fact that the people who were being, quote, bullied or harassed or whose privacy were being violated were the same brain dead motherfucking idiots who decided to go out of their way to actively attach their legal names, faces, and other identifying information to saying and doing a bunch of genuinely objectionable and abhorrent shit. And then they had the nerve to go out of their way to demand privacy or demand anonymity after they made a big song and dance show of being genuinely shitty human beings who then decided that their privacy mattered because all of a sudden it clicked that maybe local authorities could get involved if these people did crazy fucking things that could then be used to identify them and tie them to their places of residence. But with that a little introduction out of the way, let's begin to my actual thoughts about this whole situation. Yes, hello everyone, because once again, this fucking godforsaken hellscape we call a platform has decided to give another person the boot, unjustifiably, because some whiny little pissant decided that starting fights for attention was no longer in his best interest. So what he then decided to do was try to pull revisionist history by constantly claiming that people are violating his privacy by using his own statements against him and pointing out the fact that the shit he says is absolutely fucking batshit insane. Keep in mind there are a few suspects as to who fucking did it, but I'm not gonna name them because I know that if I do, they're gonna freak out and run over here and start trying to take the video down because remember, if they're addressed by name, it means it's the same thing as you directing a bomb at their house. But these are the same people that are willing to email you death threats, send you images of your house, use your post your home address on the social media of people who aggressively harass you. But remember, these people are the victims. And the people that look at them and say that they're behaving like a little twat, we are all just the evil villains who can never do anything right because the platform has decided that though people that are not sucking its dick relentlessly and trying to constantly feed it their monies are the problem. Not the broken moderation bot, not the shitty algorithm, not the fact that it doesn't even properly try to maintain and prune its own garden of the problem that it actively allows to grow. But no, it's the fault of the people that point out the fact that these people are callous assholes who don't much care for the safety of the users unless they themselves figured they might face some sort of consequence as a result. I mean, let's be honest. We're talking about a platform that actively allowed Onion to be allowed on this website for over a decade, constantly grooming teenage girls. But remember, totally a website who doesn't have massive fucking flaws in how it decides to examine all the content creators that occupy its space. Speaking as a relatively long-term denizen of this fucking website, it feels like this place is going straight to shit. I mean, it was bad enough when we had two different adpocalypse, one caused by PewDiePie making a big mistake that he regrets to this day, the other caused by Susan, may she burn in the pits of hell for all eternity for the horrible shit that she allowed to go on in the platform the entire time she was aware of it and did nothing to really mitigate it. But the fact is, the entire time from like even Susan before and after she left YouTube, it has only gotten progressively worse. I remember Susan literally just triggered an adpocalypse because she wanted to try to drive the content creators that the community more or less, like the higher ups and the people that are responsible for making the monies, more or less said we want the undesirables gone. So what that meant is like gun YouTube channels, alcohol YouTube channels, like things that were obviously not aimed at children and were advertised as like primarily adult, like adult centric content was like gradually pushed off the fucking platform as Susan's way to kind of capitulate and placate to these corporations and advertisers that were essentially threatening the website at gunpoint if they didn't start doing whatever they could to make it more appropriate so that they could market their cancer causing vapes and other things to children there because, you know, changing one destructive habit for another is totally it's much better to pick up one vice after you drop another than trying not to have one at all. In the name of every major corporation that advertises tobacco products to children ever. But the fact is, what happened to Tom recently is shitty. And the reason it's fucking shitty is because they get hit with this shit a lot. Like, no joke. People will do fundamentally nothing to really break the rules. In fact, they will do whatever they can if they feel it's necessary to toe the line between what is considered too much or just enough. That it can kind of just under the radar so that they don't get in trouble for really nothing. But the problem is because people are so fucking sensitive now and the algorithm and the bot will literally freak out the moment anything at all that's mentioned could be used as a way to make the person possibly unfriendly to advertisers even if they're not monetized. It's usually YouTube's way of trying to prune that tree, to put it bluntly. I don't believe it was just the false reporting that did it. I just believe that YouTube doesn't particularly care about its users, as it's shown time and time again with the obnoxious volume of ads you get for like a 10-minute video. Now, it is true that the uploader will allow ads. However, usually they don't choose the quantity of ads. It's usually determined by the length of the video or whether or not the person has a lot of sponsorships in mind. But the problem is they will literally shoehorn 5 ads into a 20-minute video. And more often than not, the uploader has very little, if not no idea that there are that many ads. They just know, like, okay, maybe 1 or 2, fine. 1 at the beginning, 1 at the end, that's workable. And then when people, like, the funny part is even some of the fucking content creators that got all the ads were kind of pissed off because they also realized that this kind of shit would antagonize their viewers and make their viewers stop watching because no one wants to sit through a 20-minute ad about a vacuum cleaner or about a floor steamer or about Safelite, the windshield replacement company, if they could literally just watch anything else on any other platform and not have to fucking tab dance around the ads and hope they don't end up clicking on one every time they just want to watch a fucking video. I personally think that the algorithm is geared against smaller creators. Well, I don't believe so. I know so. I know it's geared towards smaller creators because the people that aren't making YouTube any money are essentially viewed as expendable. It doesn't matter if they actually know what they're talking about. It doesn't matter if they're actually talented, gifted, or interesting people, or people that are just genuinely nice. All that matters is whether or not YouTube sees money coming its way from these people generating traffic to the platform. And that's what kind of sucks. And I think Tom is just one of a long line of people that's probably going to get snubbed as time goes on. I hate to be the fucking guy that's speaking like everything's going to be like some abysmal fucking Orwellian hellscape on this platform. But I'm not going to bullshit everyone in the room, nor am I going to fucking delude myself into believing that anyone in my community is necessarily long for this platform, because let's be honest, Damien was lucky. He was lucky. He got a second wind because someone was actually smart enough to realize, wait a minute, you're not threatening this person, I'm restoring all your stuff. I tried an appeal, I didn't get mine. And the reason I didn't get mine was because the same little fucking crybaby pissant that got me kicked the first time was also aggressively trying to campaign to make sure I stayed kicked by essentially crying wolf to Team YouTube on Twitter for 6 months after I filed the appeal. Keep in mind, I didn't mention that I filed the appeal. The little idiot was just doing that, I guess, for the sake of being pragmatic. It's like, well, I'm not going to take any chances. But the fact is, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Now, Tom has made a comeback in the sense that he's kind of started over. Like, if anyone does see him around on their channel, please help him grow again, because honestly, he kind of got screwed over for no real reason. And yeah, with that, I'm just gonna close this out by saying fuck the algorithm, fuck the bots, fuck the moderating team, fuck YouTube, and fuck everyone now that I think about it. This is just some asshole on the internet. Have a nice day.